This conference will now be recorded.
So we set up this server, client server, SSMS client software to connect to the database. So SQL Express Edition we installed. So now after completion of installation, I'm just going to the search and SSMS if I use. So this is our SSMS Management Studio. So make a habit to keep all these things in your taskbar so it will be easy to maintain it. So right click on this. You can just pin to taskbar if you say. In the border you can see this taskbar. Okay. So on top of it you can work on. So it is just logging in. I mean to say, so opening up the studio. SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. It's a client software to connect to the database. So database is an application software which will be storing in a binary format, which is like mission understandable language. So we cannot understand directly the mission code. So we are using these client softwares also to connect to the database. And here I got like the server name. So this is my server name. How do I say this is a server name? It is SQL Express. If you remember, when we configured the SQL Server database, at the finally I said like instance name you will get like SQL Express. So that is the one is here. Then the before desktop 7.75 MTV is my system name. How do I recognize my system name? If you go to this C folder and if you go to the properties of it, um, not C folder, you can go to this PC and properties if you see. See, this is my computer name, device name, and my server, my system is my server for now. I said server means nothing but our own laptops, our own computers only. But whereas the server is like high configured, our local machines, our systems, computers are low configured. That's it. So high configured systems will be available by in the 24 by 7 mode. So that's how this server setup is done. Now to connect to that server, we are using SSMS. So you want to connect within the mode of Windows authentication like SQL Server. We have system administrator as user ID, password, and connect. We can do that way, but we haven't. The connection was successful, established with the server, but then error occurred during the login process. So no process of this end-to-end pipe. So we don't have SQL Server authentication. We can connect to the database in multiple ways. So SQL Server authentication, if I do step-by-step process, we can use this SQL Server. But for now, I'll just use Windows authentication and just click on connect. So when I say Windows authentication, it got connected to the server. So how do we pull the server name? By using this properties, you can get the server name. As I said, the product, the name of the product, this is the product instance name, right? So server name plus the system name. I mean to say DB name, the server DB name. So now if you want to connect to that server, you can just right click and say connect. When you connect it, already it is connected. So we got like databases. Do I have any databases? These all database snapshots, system database, these all like predefined. We got temp so temporary table, temporary database, master database, model database, master. These all are the pre-defined databases when you configure to SQL Server, which you can see by default. But I don't prefer on this. I want to create my own new database. So for that, I can right click and say new database. When I click on new database, it will ask me the database name. I can just give for an example like sample DB. So that a sample DB means what is this DB? This is called like schema in some cases. Some cases it is called database in multiple tools. See, for suppose I have my server, I have my complete server, and I am creating a table which is storing in this particular area. This is the table, and the configuration or the storage of this table is up to this part for suppose. Now from the SSMS as an a client software, I'm asking to pull this table. So this is your server name. This is your server name. So by giving this server address, I'll try to pull SSMS. I'll just configure to this server. Now, whenever your SSMS server comes with an SQL engine to search for this employees.txt file, employees table file, I'm sorry, table, employees table. What happens now? Your SQL engine has to start your search from here. It will search for each and every place in the database, and it will go on to search, and finally it finds at the bottom. So it is taking some time here, correct or not? What is the time taken is purely dependent on the database configuration. How much database configuration you have based on that. For suppose I have 1 acre land, you have 1 acre land, and I just placed one ear ring or like a finger ring, and I just asked the person to any one of the person to go and bring that ring. So within this one, or else I can say like this. For suppose I have a notebook which is in 5 store building. In this 5 store building, in each floor I have 10 to 15 rooms and 5 floors I have. And I said within that building I have a small ring which is there. You just bring it up. Then that person need to go for one particular floor, or he has to go for each and every floor. Definitely each and every floor. The search engine also similarly for this employee, it should work for each and every place in the database. If it is not like that, I am just making this database into different partitions, you can say, or different parts. What happens? So this is one DB. This is my second DB. Now this DB is part again having some DB. So like this, I have within the same SQL Express edition, I have like multiple DBs, and this is also one of the DB for suppose. And the DB's names are represented like DB1, DB2, DB3, DB4, DB5, DB6. 7, 8. But suppose if I am just giving the person to saying that in fifth floor in the third room I have that ring, please bring, then that will be faster, or like within that whole building you have one ring, please bring means it will be more faster. Definitely if you give particular address it will be more faster. So now for now assume that this db5 is having my employees. So now the database we have configured within this whole SQL Server database. Now there are two things here. If I write like select star from employees is one of the query which will go and search for all the DBs. If I say like select star from DB5 dot employees, then the search will be directly going to the db5. It will not search anything, it will directly come down and it will go to the db5. It is remaining this whole space, it is not required to search, then it will retrieve more faster. Correct or not? That is one of the reason why we need to create the db schemas and all. The name of the db in some case it is called as schema, in some of the name it is called as uh, like DB, as I said, database. So the other thing is maybe I can segregate my business data within multiple departments, within multiple folders and all. So in such case also DBs will help. So the DB1 will have all the details of the products which I am selling. For suppose if I am having a business, DB2 will have all the advertisements information, where I am advertising, how much expense I am happening on the which product, how much advertisement I am doing, in which area I am doing, what is the time period I am just running this advertisement. Those all things will be doing in the DB2. I mean in the DDBs too. And the third DB, maybe if I am saying like dealers information, I'll be storing. Like this I'll have each and every db for one purpose, particular information, so that will be more meaningful to segregate, to meaningful to have my data handy. Correct or not? So that is the reason why we create the dbs is the similar. So we are making the whole sql server database with multiple addresses, we can say we can creating with the dead schema address. So the sample DB, if I want to see, just refresh the schema, refresh the databases. Now if you go to the system DB, still you are not able to find the database. Did I create it or did I stop it? I created, I guess. Okay, I'll just refresh the server also. And even sample DB, it is not yet created, I guess. Along with these tables only, my databases only, it should create a, is not yet created, I guess. Sample DB, I'll just add it. Yeah, now it created. Earlier I did not create, I guess. I missed out. Okay, fine. So now do we have any database within this? I have any tables? No. System tables, file tables, anything, nothing I have. Okay. So now what I need to do, I have okay, I did not create. See, this is the one. I'll just cancel it. So now using SSMS, I want to connect to the database and I need to perform this all. This all called SQL, structure query languages. Within that structure query languages, there are categorized the commands within different languages. We have seen these all DDL, DML. So to set up the database, we can use create. So DB, create a database also. You can drop the database also. So these operations, I said I will talk most on the select statement. Remaining operations, I'll just give some introduction, but I'll give you some references also. So where those references will be present means, if you go to the double three schools, which is one of the most well-known website for practicing the SQL, you will have handy here. You can do exercises as well. So if you go to the SQL, in some cases you will find the Oracle command SQL statement. If you find any differences, you can get. See here, the database creation. If you come down to the SQL DB, create a database. The following SQL statement creates the database. You can practice this as well. See, if you say here, create DB database for sample test DB. Okay, sorry, this is asking to write a query. So write the SQL statement, create a database called testdb. Just we can write like create. So see, this is exercise also will give. So it will help you to get good knowledge. So I recommend to use this one of the submit answer. So when you submit answer, so what it is going to do, it is going to give the correct or not. So the next exercise for now the same thing, right? It will, if you ask the show answer also, you can see DOP database. And next you can go to the next step again. Delete means drop database testdb. Submit answer correct. Go to the next exercise. So similarly like this we can, so this is your table. So what it is saying, write correct SQL statement, create a new table called persons. So here what I need to do, just use like create table persons. That's it. And this the structure is given by the W3 schools only. It's correct. Just go to the next. So like this, it will be topic delete. Delete also will not work here. We have to use drop table name persons. Just submit answer correct. Next click. So like this, each and every topic we can use. So at high level, coming to the DDL commands, I have some scripts which I'll share to you people, so you can utilize of these things to work on the create and all. So like even the data warehousing database also material I haven't shared it. I'm sorry, I forgot. Like after this I will have some other engagement, so because of that I couldn't do that today. For sure I'll do without fail. And even my front office people is just reminding, but I forgot to do that. Okay, I'll get it done today. So we got like SQL classes. So here we got like the scripts. To create these tables, I have two tables, employees, departments. Mostly, if I just give you what we will do, simply we will try first one and you will go to the database. And how do we get the script means you can see new query. You can just get a canvas or an area to run your scripts. You can use this new query. Once you click on copy it and paste it, if you just execute, it is got successful, correct? But for suppose I said I'm just dropping the table department. I'm just running using F5, the shortcut to run F5. So now I don't have any table in this. Okay, I don't have any table. For suppose if I am just more concentrating on employees, what do you people do generally? You people will go and create the employees table first. But when you try to execute this, is it going to execute successfully? No. I'll try to increase the size 1 second. This is not handy for me as well. Like 1 second. 1 second. It is taking some time to utilize this toolbox. So this is like any software will get. I'm just trying to get these options to. So you are able to see this. Just font size I want to increase. Okay. One more way,
Can we
which is
try full screen?
no full screen will not work with me because I have to move from one image to another image. That is the reason. Just a minute. I can just. So this is a software which will help. For example, so but this is not the right way. If you navigate here, we'll get an option, but again it will take some time. So that is the reason. And every time it should be me give me good view only, but now I don't know, so I need to check on it. I'll do it on offline. So coming to this part, see, we what it is giving me error foreign key FK. So while creating the tables itself, we need to know which table should we run first, which table we should run the next. And definitely this is the OLTP task. We don't need to work out or we don't need to worry on it. But still, again, if you want to know this particular order of table creation also, we should know one more concept called constraints. So constraints. We have the constraints concept in OLTP level. So the constraints concept is all about, quickly I'll finish up, but make a concentrate on it and try to understand what contrast, what constraint will help in which way. So constraints. So the major first constraint is primary key. In some cases, I have discussed about the primary key, and which is the other one like a foreign key. The spellings and all. Bear with me for the spellings and all. So coming to this next, we got like check constraint. Or else before to this I'll try to write unique constraint. There is no order. If you know the constraints, that is enough. Unique constraint. These are all the constraints where you will work on the at the time of table creation. The table creation. Null constraint. Okay, don't write constraint again. So we got like unique null, primary key, foreign key, unique null, and check constraint and default constraint also we have. So I said these constraints are going to work on the table. While creating the table, you have to know. So I'm just talking on this part now. So the primary constraint means what? I said if you want to give a column called employee ID and if you want to pass the data into this in any organization, do you think an employee ID once if it is given to one employee like Raju, can again this one not one employee ID can be given to Ramu also? Definitely it should not. Definitely it should not. So in such case, if you define primary key will not allow the duplicates. This is one thing. Okay, one not one already I present, so I'll give Ramu without an employee ID. Will it work? No. So these two conditions should match means you have to define your employee ID as a primary key. The usage of the primary key is this is the one case. The second case is The second case is the employee ID or not employee ID. This is the second case. For example, the next one. I have within the student table and we have like management table. In this management table, we have the information like management name. For suppose you will get the course, which courses the management, the college will provide. Okay. Now within the student table also, the student name, the student address, phone number, like this will have. Now the student information also, like student address, student course, the student which course they are going to study, join. So that information is mandatory or not? Can you tell me, in any college, the course which is not providing by their management, can you see the students for that course? No. And any people should join to that course? No. So nowadays we have online applications. You are getting the course. You are going to submit an application through online. So when you are getting to course option in the student ID, either they'll give you a drop down which the college will provide, either they'll ask you to write. In the management studio, in the management table, the course name, I have some CSC, I have like IT, I have mechanical, something like this. I'm directly going and choosing, I want to get like CSC. Then what immediately it should happen? This has to go and validate with this course ID, because whether this course is present in the college or not, then only I should allow to join this student or submit the application. In some case, I have a person who want to join for MBA. Then immediately it will go again and it will check, do MBA is there? No. Then what will happen? It will give you some notification saying that the college is not providing this course. Then either you go for other school, other college or something. So now here what happens? This is one table, this is second table. So these two relationship, if you want to create between the tables, we use primary key and foreign key. Which is primary key, which is foreign key? Definitely the foreign key is course ID from the management. The primary key is definitely from the student. When you define a primary key, it has to go and validate. How does this primary key know to go and validate this course ID? How do we get this foreign key related to this primary key? So if you just go to this my syntax, if you see here, the employees department ID, which is given like a relationship with foreign key of the table called the column called department ID, which is referencing to the departments. So department ID. So for suppose now the job ID is not there, I'll just try to remove this. So without the creation of the departments, you cannot create the employees. In an organization, what departments you have, if you don't know, what is the nature of the business, if you don't know, we cannot get the employees to join. Correct or not? So first you have to create the departments table. And department table is identified with the primary key if you observe. But this primary key address is given in the foreign key. The address of the primary key is given in the department ID references in the department. So now first I will create the departments and I'll run it. Now it is successful. Now if I go to this, table employees. Now if you try to create, now also it is throwing error. Why? I have one more foreign key which is manager id references to employees, and earlier to that I got one second, I'm just using control z to come back because one second, I'll just close this without saving. If you observe here, there is a job ID references job ID, which is the table called jobs. But to be honest, I don't have that and overall, so I'll just remove this complete syntax. Now, if you just go to this create table, and now if you execute it, definitely it will execute because the foreign key to both are getting here only. So every time you should know these constraints. If you know these constraints, because these are the table creation time, and even as an a not only oltp developer, as a olap developer also, you people should know about the constraints. But if you know these things, it will help you to work in with the knowing, I mean, what you are doing you can know. If you don't know also you can run, but still at that point of time you will come to know what is happening, but you will not be convenient to to work on. So just simply what is your work? You will just load the data. That's it. But before loading the data, you have to validate the table. You have to validate with the structure of the table, and you need to see lot of things within that table. So those all things need to be taken care. So those all things, if you want to take, you have to know these things. Even in a database also, OLAP also will have the relationships, right? So next. And one of the answer I want to, like, there will be lot of questions, and one of the questions, some of the questions will frequently asked, frequently get question doubt on it, frequently will get confused. Generally, if I said, as I said, student table and management table, I have primary key and foreign key, then only it is possible to join, or else it's not possible to join. This is one of the question and doubt people will have. No, there is no concept of joining two tables. We require a primary key and a foreign key. We don't require, but just a common column should be there, and common data should be there to get the result. That's it. No primary key foreign key relationship will be designed to create a, to get a join data. No. Next, unique. What is unique? What is primary key doing? Two things. One thing is what? Making not to enter duplicates into the column which we specified as a primary key. Unique key means what? The same, it will not allow the duplicates. But unique key can allow nulls. But primary key will not do that also. The combination of unique and null is nothing but primary key. The combination of unique and null will be nothing but a primary key. Then why do we have two separately again means? There are few columns which need to be unique, but which should not be null. Which can be null, I'm sorry, which can be null. Correct or not? For example, phone number. Maybe if my customer is repeating, I'll get the phone number repeated. So already that customer is there. So that column, that phone number can be taken again as the same number. No need to enter new one. Maybe some cases people will not give phone number. In the stores like Ratnadeep and some retail stores, if you see, people will be hurry. Even they will wait lot of time in the queue to get the billing. In such case, they will be hesitated. Again, if you ask phone number and if you want some information on top of it, they will shout it. Correct? They will not give. So in such case, it should be null. So null means which will not allow you, not null constraint. I'm sorry, not null constraint, not null constraint. The constraint name is not null, not null. I mean to say the constraint should be not null. So now here it will not, without any value, if you enter, it will not take, it will not allow you. So one of the question we have on this top of it, And even I got this concept in the interviews only when I am new to IT industry. So I ask you the question. Whenever I say unique will make sure to not to get a duplicate entered, but null can be entered. When null can be entered, tell me how many nulls can be entered into unique. In a unique column, unique if I define any column in unique on that, it can enter null. That is for sure. But how many nulls? Unique will not allow duplicates. If anyone want to answer, you can unmute and you can answer. No issues. Just take a chance to ask answer the question. Like whatever the number, it's just of giving some option with numbers. Or you all people are new to database. If I mean database very new. Any one of you have some knowledge. Okay, if even new people, no problem. It will be easy to me to handle with each and every topic. But give some answer. Yeah, Jyoti. Okay. So then, when I was very new, I said to the interviewer, and she was lady. She was very patient, and she said, I said, it will be no duplicate,
One,
right?
one null.
Yeah, yeah. Even that only I also answered. But she explained me in very detail. This is wrong. This is wrong. Why? Because null is nothing but you cannot define it. For example, if I say I have a column and I have something here, do I can define it? No, I cannot define. When I am not able to define it, how can it stop the second one? This is unique. This is also unique. Null you cannot define it. So that's why she said unique will support nulls any number. There is no limit. As I said, even I also mentioned the same. When I said unique, then why number of duplicates will enter? No, only one. No, so one I said. She said wrong, and she explained me very clearly. Null will not have any shape to just identify within the next second copy. If I say one, yeah, one is having one shape. If I am trying to get entered as one, definitely it will find out. Then it will not allow. But null, which is a null, I'm not able to identify anything here. How can I justify again? No, we cannot. So that's why we make sure that null is not having any shape. So when null is not having any shape, unique cannot identify it as a duplicate. That's why nulls only will enter into unique column also any number, if not one or two. Okay. So thanks for the answer. I didn't see your name, but still thanks for that. So if you just interact, no, it will be more interesting for you people and for me also. So that it's like nothing, no marks here, no nothing. So yeah, someone unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, in what cases we can use the null constraint, sir?
Null constants, for example, I have to get a value. For suppose, if I say the same example, the retail stores, it's defined as a not null constraint. It's actually the constraint is not null. It's not null. I'll correct this constraint. Null is a function actually. So I'll just make it as not null, which is the constraint name. So the same example like Rathadeep or retail store people, if that column phone number is defined as a not null, then if I am not interested, I am a customer, I went into that store, but I said you cannot make any transaction without a phone number. If that customer says, if that person, executive, billing person says, you know, sir, without your phone number, I cannot order you, so you cannot purchase these products, you can leave, for suppose. Do I get angry or not? definitely. So then what happens? The same person, what he will do if the person, the customer is not really interested in giving number, so then what he will do? He will enter some digits, 9999, 10 nines, and he'll enter it. So that is the not null constraint. Means the business want the customer phone numbers to promote their offers, the best offers based on the festivals or like some events, some anything. So that phone number is mandatory. So without any phone number, the customer cannot purchase a product. That is a business rule. But all the customers cannot be like that. Some customers will give numbers. They'll treat like they'll get some offers, bonuses, something like that, and they will give the phone number. So the cashier will come to know that if without entering that phone number, we cannot proceed further to do billing. So what he will do, he'll enter some 99999. So in such case, we use not null constraint. Okay. So the next default constraint. What is default? Default means it's all about, for example, default constraint means, for example, I have a ECT column name, and I'm specifying here the Hyderabad related employees information. Hyderabad related. I have 20 employees per suppose. In the table, I'm entering the data of city employees, cities, Hyderabad only. 20 or 100, whatever the number of employees I have to enter with the Hyderabad. I know that value is Hyderabad only. So again and again, should I specify that value? No. While creation time only, I will say this column should be default give Hyderabad only. So whenever you enter a record into the table, the employee city will given by Hyderabad by the system itself, by the SQL engine itself. Nowhere you need to provide. So that is the flexibility while designing. So while designing the table. So that is what within this table structure itself, you can use check constraint also. Like this, we can use, for example, here I have manager ID. Suppose here it's I want to get, I'll see default null. The manager ID is default null. If the value record is not coming, then specify default null. If I have city column, what should be there? Default Hyderabad HYD. That's it. So that's how the default constraint will work. What is check constraint? See, I have the department's information here. Department ID. So for one department, like I have departments, I have 10, 20, 30, 40. These are the four departments I have. For 10th department, I have a range of 10,000 to 15,000 range. If I am giving less than this, more than 15,000, it should throw an error. That is a check. That is check I am doing. That is the check constraint. Sorry, class was 10 minutes ago. So next one, 20th department, I want to give range of 20,000 to 35,000. So the range between, so I am defining employee ID to 10th department. Okay. So that range of salary should be this one only. You should not get less than 10,000. You should not provide more than 15,000. So that is the one thing we can make using check constraint. So these are the constraints that we have. Practical sessions are not really required for us as an OLAP developers, but keep an idea. When you just revise these sessions, just note it and make it by heart or like Google it and get some knowledge on from the references which I am providing. So you can provide from here. All these are categorized. Okay. Even these all exercise you can practice once you complete the whole sessions, and you can make sure like whether you got the good idea on the database or not. It's very important to have good knowledge. Okay. Even I'll try my best to give the question. I mean, the best the Power BI with Power BI also. How can we work? We can see. Fine then. So coming to now, like this department ID. So if you know the constraints, you will come to know which table you should execute first. So that's where the solution for understanding or creating the tables. So constraints is very mandatory thing. Okay. So that is what we have discussed. Now quickly we'll finish up DDL DML commands today. Tomorrow max we will try to finish up and we will do part 1, the select statement part 1 tomorrow. So for now, what is create? We have seen something like creating a database, creating a table, and creating a view. Later we can see that these all the objects we can create if you use create statement. Next, drop means the table which you created, table database which you created, we can drop it. Alter means we can rename it. If you created a table with employees, and if you want to alter it, you can use alter, or drop and recreate you can do. So next we got like one more best thing is truncate. What is this truncate? I'll show you. For suppose I have some data here which I can as table I created. Okay, I'll show you departments, which is less data I have, only 11 departments. If I say select star from departments, execute. I got this table, department ID, department name, location ID. Did I insert the data? No. Now I just copied it. See, insert is one of the DML operation which will help to insert the data. The inserted data, if you want to delete, we can use delete. If you want to update it, you can update it. These are called like DML operations which will work on the records. So now try to execute this command. All row affected. It is affected with the rows. Now you say select start from departments. Now the data is loaded, correct? Now I'll use truncate. Table departments. Okay, this is not executed. Cannot be truncated table departments because it is being referenced by the foreign key constraint. Okay. See now the data is not there. Okay. For now I'll drop the employees. Drop employees table. Table dropped. Now you can just see the data departments, employees department table, employees table I deleted, dropped. Now if I truncate successfully worked. So now if I say select star from departments, do I see any data? Do I see the structure? Yes. By this, what people will assume is, people will think of is, okay, it is deleting only the records, but the table is remaining same. There is a chance when I am very new also, even I also just know the same concept similarly, but it is not the case. What truncate will do, truncate will drop this table whenever you have data, and it will recreate with the only the structure. It will recreate only with the structure. That means this will recreate only, this will execute again. When I insert the data with this table will be dropped, means completely, and it can recreate with the structure. That's why we cannot use where class, means for suppose I want to delete particular data, I can delete using where class. But if I want to delete particular records in truncate, it will not happen because the truncate behavior is dropping the whole table and recreating the structure. The where class and all will come to know. So tomorrow is our next level of the session. So in the next class we will come to know what is where class, what is order by class, why, what purpose we use. We will give you at a high level. I'll give you some knowledge on the DML operations also, and we will go further. I'll stop here for today. And as this helps you to get some hands-on, just practice it. And coming to these references, not only W3 schools, we have one more Java tutorial point, I guess. It's like you come down, see transit skill. We got like statements here also. So both you can utilize to practice, both utilize to get some knowledge. Okay. So if you get good understanding of SQL, we are good to go with Power BI also. Next week, mostly we'll start with Power BI as well. Okay, I'm just stopping the recording here.